It's an infinity game changer.
Hi, and welcome to this week's Game Changer. These podcasts are made to motivate, assist, and inspire business owners to achieve more than they ever thought possible. And this week, I'm sat here with Ben, who's got some questions for me.
It's about business owners and I hear you talk a lot about following the crowd, or not following the crowd, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What, you worked in a cleaning company.
Mm-hmm.
You want to set up a cleaning company.
Mm-hmm.
Why not just, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So,
unfortunately, we do need to reinvent the wheel, though, when it comes to that.
Okay.
And here's why. There's a graphic that's really helpful, so we'll pop that graphic in this for you as well. If we look at businesses in the UK, and we were to build a pyramid of businesses in the UK, and we looked at
turnover,
based on turnover.
Yeah.
And I know turnover's vanity and profit is sanity, but without turnover, you don't have any profit.
I like that. Okay.
That's true. You don't have any profit without turnover. Okay, and profit is a different thing, but you need cash coming through that door to make your business work. Fact.
Okay.
Right, okay. So if we build a little pyramid, and the slide will show it, the bottom 20% of businesses in the UK, and this is stats, bottom 20% of businesses, and this is based on turnover, but there are 20% of the businesses in the UK that are in continuous financial turmoil. They don't come out of it. So that's 20% of businesses in the UK are in continuous financial turmoil. Fact. And then there's a 60% bracket that sits above that. And the 60% bracket of businesses in the UK are only just getting by. They are run by business owners that probably pay themselves less than minimum wage. They'd earn more money if they went and got a job. Lots of people we've spoke to are in that remit. They're there. That's where they sit. So we've got 20% in continuous financial turmoil. We've got 60% that are only just getting by. Then above that, we've got another little bracket as we work up the pyramid. We've got a little bracket of about 16% of businesses that are classed as they're doing okay. Sometimes it's a struggle to pay the VAT bill at the end of each quarter, and the business owner is taking a decent wage. No one's a millionaire in this bracket, but they're taking a wage, probably a little bit more than national minimum wage, but they are surviving. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we've got a 4% bracket. These are businesses that are doing well. 4% in the UK, that's all. Businesses that are doing well. And then we've got the top 1%. And 1% of businesses in the UK turn over more than £1 million. Now, we know turnover is not profit, but without turnover, you don't have profit. But unfortunately, in the UK, only 1% of businesses across all sectors, it's an average, 1% of businesses turn over more than £1 million. So if we go back down the pyramid, and you're asking me, why tell people not to follow the crowd? If you look at that crowd, 20% plus the 60% aren't running businesses, they're just surviving. They're paying themselves below national minimum wage, or they'd be better off if they had a job. But they've got all the pressure and hassle of running a business. They pay the staff before they pay themselves, and there's no money left for them. Well, it's easy maths. 60 and 20 is 80% of businesses in this country are in that bracket. So if you're setting up a business, and Brits are programmed to follow the crowd, we just are. We queue up at a till without even knowing if there's someone serving us. We queue. Mm-hmm. We follow the crowd. That's what we do. So I've worked in a cleaning company, if I'm your example, and I set up my own cleaning company, and I look at what other cleaning companies are doing, and I just do that. Well, all of a sudden, I'm following the crowd. But if I knew that there was 10 cleaning companies I could follow, if I knew that 8 of them were doomed to failure, why would I follow them? Because I would just be following myself and putting myself doomed to failure. So I'd say to people, don't follow the industry norms. What you need to do if you're setting up in business is look at who that 16, 4 and 1% are in your industry and find out what they're doing. Because I guarantee you, if you look at the 1% in any industry that's doing £1 million or more, they are doing things very differently to the 60 and the 20%. But we follow the crowd and we look at that 1% and think, it's not what everybody else is doing. I won't do that.
It's like a scary,
What? That's not normal. We do it this way. But 80% of people are doing it wrong. 100% of the time. So if we follow the crowd, we're going to follow them. So when I build my businesses and I go into a sector, I hunt out the 1% in that industry that are doing things differently. And I emulate them. I look at them. I get training off them. And people call me a business interrupter. I'm okay with that. Well, I'm fine. In fact, I'm proud of that because I am not doing it like everybody else in the industry does it. And on the back of one of the training manuals for the managers that come into one of the businesses that I own, it's in big bold print on the back cover of the training manual. It says, we do things differently here and we're okay about that. Because that is a 7-week training program which usually has managers that have come into one of my businesses from another business in the industry. And the first thing they say in their first week with us is, this isn't normal. Brilliant. Because normal is that 80% that are doomed to failure. So we follow the 1%, and sometimes we overtake the 1%, and one of the businesses that I operate is the biggest business in that industry in the UK. And people look at that business and think they're crazy what they do. It's doing 5 million. And the people that are criticising us and telling us that we're crazy are doing 140 grand. I'm okay.
It all makes sense. You go into, like if you join a Facebook group or anything like that, there's people giving advice, and now, obviously, with working here and the experience I've got, you look at it and you go, why are you telling people that? Why are you telling people that? And they're all giving advice and they all have these community groups and they're all helping each other. And I think, it's so dangerous because, again,
you follow
80% of you won't be giving great advice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're getting it wrong. And I don't get it wrong, we don't know it all. I know, and I am hunger. I have a constant hunger for learning. This year alone, I have booked myself on 26 training courses.
I remember you said, yeah.
26 training courses. And I pay for all of them. And every one that I go on, I write notes. I'm quiet. I take it all in. Then I come back and I try and book the next day off work because then I can implement what I've learned. So I constantly learn. But when I go on these training courses, I'm looking at the top 1% of the industry. And I get on the training courses that they're running. What are they doing? How can I put that into my business? How can I emulate them? And I get criticised by the people in the industry that are running their businesses in the 80% bracket as a business interrupter. But it's working. And we are getting people who leave those businesses asking to come and work here because they see that we are flying with it, but we don't follow the crowd. And I would encourage anybody that is running a business to not follow the crowd, because unfortunately in the UK, 80% of business owners are getting it wrong 100% of the time. And that's not me making it up. That's the stats that show that. 20% are in continuous financial turmoil, 60% are running at break even.
It reminds me of a big example. At first I thought that is absolutely crazy, but the guy now is absolutely flying. So it's for a marketing agency, and obviously a lot of marketers, we do things differently, we do this. And it's funny because they all say that. Oh, we do this. And this guy rocked up to this event and he wore a bright big hoodie. So he'd been in uniform, bright pink hoodie. He had a cardboard sign and he's held it up and he said, ask me why most marketing's rubbish. He's held a cardboard sign. And we were looking at him. I went for a rather big agency. Looking at him thinking, what is this guy doing? He had the busiest stand all day. He walked away. I think he 10x'd his LinkedIn presence. I think he did 3 events just doing that. And he rocked up with he had a stand, but nothing on it.
Yeah.
That's all he had. And I think that's crazy. But yeah, you're right.
Well, we did a show last year.
Yeah.
I won't say what the event was, but we did a show last year, and I'd been to the show 3 years previous. So for the 3 previous years, I'd been there. And every stand was either blue or green or white. It just was. And every stand had the guy in the black or blue trousers and the white or blue shirt. And there was probably 300 stands at this event. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't tell the difference if you'd have took the name tags down, what they were.
Yeah.
And they were all in one industry. So we went to the event. And we were laughed at when we told the managers of the event what we were doing. They said, that's crazy, but you've booked your stand. So everything that was either blue, green or white, and everyone there either wore blue or black or white or blue shirts. I rolled up. I had a bright red stand, half of it, and the other half was bright yellow. And we weren't suited. We had bright red T-shirts on in front of the yellow stand, and we had bright yellow T-shirts on in front of the red stand. And it just said, if you want to grow your business, talk to me. That's it. And to make it even more visual impact, the people that were wearing those T-shirts were stilt walkers. And they had on the front of their T-shirt, grow your business as big as me. Now, we took that event by storm. The organizer of the event came to us at the end of the event and said, I spent £170,000 on my stand, and I haven't been as busy as you because we did not follow the crowd.
Yeah.
I had 6 people on my stand, and we had queues of people wanting to talk to us. Didn't follow the crowd, turned up different.
And then I suppose just in a crowded market, it just makes you different. Visibility is half the battle, so...
Stand out different.
Does that?
So that's not following the crowd. The slide will be available, we can have a look at it. The figures aren't made up, they're real. But I would encourage anybody who's starting in business to look at the top 1% in their individual industry and look at them and think, what do they do? Now, don't just copy it. You can't plagiarize things. But you can look at what they do and think, how can I put that into my business? And if you do that, you'll stand out. But you need to copy the top 1% because they're making the money. Does that explain it?
Absolutely, it does.
Don't follow the crowd. I'll leave you to do the outro.
Any questions, guys? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Remember to subscribe to us for more like this, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
It's an Infinity game changer.